A coffee cup falls from a table. It hits the floor. It shatters into dozens of sharp pieces. That moment feels normal, ordinary, almost boring. But hidden inside that simple accident is a secret that could destroy one of the most exciting ideas in science fiction, because no matter how many times a cup breaks, it never unbreaks. Not once in the history of the universe has a shattered cup lifted itself from the floor and rebuilt its smooth white shape, and that tiny overlooked fact may be the strongest evidence that traveling backward in time is impossible. Movies like Back to the Future made time travel look playful. Other films like Interstellar made it look scientific and emotional. They showed clocks bending, timelines twisting, the past and future blending together. These stories are powerful. They make us believe time is flexible, but real physics is far less forgiving. The universe follows rules that do not care about our dreams, and one of those rules is written into every broken object around you. This video will uncover the quiet law that controls the direction of time. You will learn why broken things never fix themselves. You will discover how disorder shapes reality. You will understand why even the most advanced physics struggles with backward time travel. And by the end, you may see something as simple as spilled coffee in a completely new way. Stay with me until the end, because the final piece of this puzzle connects the fate of that broken cup to the fate of the entire universe. When a cup shatters, energy spreads outward. Tiny cracks race through the ceramic faster than the eye can see. The pieces scatter. Heat transfers to the floor. Sound waves move through the air. On the surface, it looks like destruction, but on a deeper level, something more important is happening. Order is turning into disorder. Structure is turning into randomness, and that process has a direction. In physics, there is a principle called the second law of thermodynamics. It states that in a closed system, entropy, which means disorder, tends to increase over time. This law is not a suggestion. It is not a trend. It is one of the most tested principles in science. It explains why hot coffee cools down, why ice melts, why buildings decay, and why cups break, but never unbreak. Here is something most people do not realize. The basic equations that describe motion, gravity, and particles often work the same whether time moves forward or backward. On paper, many processes do not care about direction, but entropy does. Entropy only increases in one direction. That direction is what gives time its arrow. Scientists even call it the arrow of time. Without increasing disorder, time would not feel like it flows. There would be no difference between past and future. This is where time travel runs into trouble. Moving forward in time is allowed. In fact, it happens constantly. According to Albert Einstein and his theory of relativity, time can slow down near massive objects or at high speeds. Astronauts age slightly slower than people on Earth. This has been measured. It is real. But going backward would require something far more extreme. It would require entropy to reverse. It would require disorder to spontaneously organize itself across countless particles at once. For a shattered cup to rebuild, every fragment would need to move in perfect coordination. Every molecule would need to return to its exact position. The heat that spread into the air would need to gather itself back into the ceramic. The sound waves would need to reverse through space, not just locally, everywhere. One tiny mismatch would ruin the reconstruction. The odds of that happening are so small that for all practical purposes, they are zero. And here is the deeper twist. The broken cup is not just about ceramics. It represents every event in your life. Every action spreads energy and information outward. The universe constantly moves from neat arrangements to messy ones. That steady increase of disorder locks the past behind us. It creates memory. It creates history. It creates the feeling of time moving forward. By the end of this video, you will see why the shattered cup is more than an accident. It is a message, a silent proof written into daily life. And once you understand it, the dream of reversing time may start to fade, replaced by something even more fascinating about how reality truly works. Welcome to our channel. If you want more deep truths hidden inside simple moments, subscribe now and join us as we explore the laws that quietly shape everything around you. Movies have a way of tricking our minds. In Back to the Future, Marty McFly jumps into a car, and suddenly the past bends to his will. Decisions are made, events change, and timelines shift like flipping a switch. In Interstellar, Cooper floats near a black hole, and time stretches and folds in strange, almost magical ways. On the screen, time becomes something you can manipulate at will. Past, present, and future feel like a playground where choices ripple outward and everything can be rewritten. Fiction makes it look easy, flexible, fun, but that is imagination at work. Real life has rules. Physics is not a playground. Every action, every particle, every event follows constraints that do not bend to desire or fantasy. The universe does not pause for dramatic effect, and it certainly does not rewind just because a story demands it. Reality follows rules, and one of these rules changes everything about time travel before it even begins. That rule is written into the heart of physics. It is called the second law of thermodynamics. At its core, it is simple to understand, yet impossible to ignore. Entropy is the measure of disorder. In every system, in every process, disorder tends to increase. Heat spreads, ice melts, coffee cools, and cups shatter. The natural world is constantly moving from order toward chaos. Every action leaves traces that cannot be undone perfectly. A hot cup on a table will cool. A stack of papers will scatter. A broken cup will remain broken. Entropy does not cheat. It does not pause. It does not bend for science fiction. It dictates a one-way flow in which disorder grows and reversibility becomes practically impossible. This law is universal. It does not negotiate with ambition or imagination. Physics is full of equations that seem symmetrical, that look like they should work forward or backward. In theory, particles could move in reverse. Forces could cancel. Collisions could unfold backward. But entropy refuses to comply. It only moves forward. That movement defines what scientists call the arrow of time. It gives time its direction. Without the steady increase of entropy, there would be no past, no present, no future, only a frozen, indistinguishable continuum. The arrow of time is not an abstract idea. It is a fundamental feature of reality. It dictates why spilled coffee does not gather itself back into a cup, why broken windows do not reassemble, and why the universe itself ages instead of rejuvenating. Every tick of a clock, every passing second, every scattered particle is a marker of this arrow. Even the tiniest events obey it. When a ceramic cup hits the floor, it doesn't just break. Heat spreads into the air. Sound waves ripple outward. Molecules jump apart. All of this adds to the growing disorder of the system. In a hypothetical reversal, every single particle would need to retrace its path perfectly, not just the cup, but the air, the energy, the vibrations, everything. One microscopic deviation would prevent restoration. Entropy is relentless. It governs processes large and small, cosmic and mundane. This principle explains why time, though flexible in imagination, is stubborn in reality. Movies can bend it, warp it, and fold it. Reality cannot. Every story that rewinds, every device that claims to transport someone to the past, runs headfirst into this law. The second law of thermodynamics sets a boundary that no machine, no genius, no black hole can violate. It is the quiet, invisible governor of all motion and change. The reason cups stay broken, coffee stays cold, and time moves relentlessly forward. Physics is precise but unforgiving. While equations may seem reversible, the physical world is not. The arrow of time emerges from entropy itself, creating a landscape where the past is fixed, the present unfolds, and the future remains unknown. Everything from falling leaves to collapsing stars, from spilling drinks to burning fuel, follows this invisible vector, and it is this forward push, this steady increase of disorder, that makes backward travel not just difficult but practically impossible. The universe, in its elegance and cruelty, writes its own history and refuses to erase a single line. Imagine a cup slipping from a table. It tumbles through the air and shatters on the floor. The sound, the scattering pieces, the sudden chaos, every detail is recorded in reality. Now take a video of that exact moment and play it backward. The fragments leap into the air. They spin and twist, aligning perfectly as if the cup were reassembling itself. The coffee flows backward. The handle snaps back in place, and it looks wrong. Something about it feels impossible. That's because in real life, broken pieces do not jump back together. Nature does not cooperate with such reversals. For the cup to restore itself, entropy would need to decrease. Disorder would have to shrink. Energy would have to retract. And every tiny particle would need to find its exact previous position. Theoretically, physics equations allow reversals. But statistically, the odds of perfect reconstruction are astronomically small. So small, in fact, that it is beyond any realistic possibility. Even when considering the genius of Albert Einstein, the limits remain clear. His theory of relativity revolutionized our understanding of time. Relativity shows that time is not uniform. Near massive objects or at high velocities, time can stretch. It can slow down. Astronauts experience less aging than people on Earth. Clocks in space move differently than clocks on the ground. But no part of relativity allows entropy to reverse. Time can dilate, it can bend, it can stretch, but it cannot unwind in a way that repairs broken cups or restores spilled coffee. Forward motion is guaranteed. Backward motion remains firmly theoretical and practically blocked by the laws of disorder. The true barrier is more subtle and deeper than relativity. When a cup breaks, it is not just ceramic fragments scattering. Information spreads, energy spreads, molecules scatter in countless directions. Every crack, every chip, every vibration leaves a trace in the environment. To reverse time for that cup, every single particle would have to return to its exact previous state, not just locally, but across the entire universe. Even the tiniest misalignment, the slightest deviation, prevents restoration. The broken cup would remain broken. Energy cannot be recalled perfectly. Molecules cannot be retraced exactly. Information disperses, and once it does, it cannot be gathered back. Even if somehow particles could be reversed, another problem arises: causality. Cause comes before effect. This is a fundamental rule of reality. If backward time travel were possible, the sequence of events would collapse. If someone went back to fix a broken cup, what caused them to go back in the first place? Changing one moment would ripple through countless others, creating paradoxes that cannot resolve. The past would no longer be reliable. The chain of cause and effect, which forms the backbone of reality, would fracture. Every action relies on the previous one. Break that order, and logic itself begins to unravel. These limitations are not minor. They are woven into the fabric of reality. The cup's fall is more than an accident. It is a demonstration of universal principles. Every particle obeys the direction of entropy. Every event respects causality. Every reversal that seems possible on a screen or in imagination faces barriers that are statistical, physical, and logical. The cup shatters, the coffee spills, the sound resonates, and all these effects propagate outward, leaving permanent marks that cannot be undone. Time marches forward, and the universe does not rewind to accommodate desire, narrative, or curiosity. The deeper truth is relentless. Broken objects, dispersed energy, scattered information, and the arrow of causality combine to form a barrier that is invisible but absolute. Physics may allow time dilation. Equations may be symmetric, but reality refuses to let the past reassemble perfectly. Entropy dominates. Causality governs. The cup remains shattered, the coffee remains spilled, and the rules of the universe hold firm. Every attempt to reverse them faces not just improbability, but the fundamental structure of time itself, which ensures that the past is gone, the present unfolds, and the future continues to stretch forward without interruption. Time travel fails not because of imagination, clever machines, or clever minds. It fails because of the quiet, relentless law of entropy. Every shattered cup, every spilled drop of coffee, every crack in the world is proof that nature prefers disorder. The universe moves forward, not backward. It does not pause. It does not rewind. The broken cup wins. It is a simple object, yet it tells the ultimate truth about why the past cannot be undone and why time will never fold back on itself. If time only moves forward, is the past truly gone? Or is it still written somewhere in the hidden fabric of reality, waiting for us to understand it in new ways? Think about that. If this changed the way you see time, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more mind-bending truths that reveal the hidden rules of the universe.